Picture this. It's 2:37 a.m. in Deschutes County, Oregon, a place where the night feels like it's holding its breath. A freight train roars through the darkness, its horn slicing through a fog so thick it swallows the stars. The tracks stretch endlessly, cutting through pine forests and jagged cliffs, a lifeline in the middle of nowhere. Then, without warning, the engineer slams the brakes. Metal screams against metal, sparks flying as the train lurches to a stop. Something or someone is standing on the tracks, a shadow caught in the headlights, staring into the light. This is the story of the Reddit post that stopped a train, a mystery that gripped thousands and refuses to let go. Welcome to Reddit Vault, where we dive into the internet's darkest secrets. Let's get started. On November 12, 2019, that freight train was tearing through Oregon's wild heart, a route so remote it felt like the edge of the world. The engineer, Tom Hargrove, was a grizzled man in his 50s, 20 years on the job, used to the monotony of night runs. His cabin was a cocoon of dials and levers, the only sound the steady rumble of the engine. But at 2:37 a.m., his headlights caught a figure tall, motionless, right in the middle of the tracks. Tom's heart jumped. He yanked the brake lever, the train shuddering as it fought to stop. He expected the figure to run, to dive into the bushes. They didn't. When the train halted, just 20 feet from disaster, the figure was gone, like they'd never been there. Tom grabbed his flashlight, his breath fogging in the cold, and climbed down. His crew, 3 men, all half asleep, followed, thinking it was a kid pulling a stunt or a hiker lost in the dark. They swept the tracks, beams of light dancing over gravel and steel. Nothing. No footprints, no broken twigs, just the forest staring back, silent and vast. One of the crew, a rookie named Mike, called out from the tree line. He'd found something, a black backpack, shoved under a knot of roots, 50 yards from the tracks. Tom knelt, his fingers brushing the worn canvas. Inside was a notebook, its pages yellowed, edges curling, filled with tight, frantic handwriting. The first line stopped him cold: "They're hunting me. If you find this, don't follow." That backpack and its notebook would spark a Reddit thread that's still alive today, with over 12,000 comments and no resolution. 3 days later, on November 15, a user named trainstopper_19 posted on our Unresolved Mysteries. The title was stark: "I found a notebook after a train stopped in Oregon. I think someone's in danger." The post laid it all out: the train, the figure, the backpack, and quotes from the notebook. The writer called himself Caleb, a man running from hunters in Deschutes National Forest. Not deer hunters, not wolves, people. He described nights spent hiding, hearing footsteps crunching in the dark, seeing lights flicker through the pines, always too close. His words were raw, desperate: "They know I'm here, they always know." The final entry, dated the night of the train, November 12, 2019, read: "I can't run anymore. They're closing in. If I don't make it, tell my sister, Ellie, I'm sorry." Reddit caught fire. Users swarmed the thread, picking apart every word. Some thought Caleb was a fugitive, dodging cops after a crime. Others argued he was paranoid, lost in a mental spiral, seeing threats that weren't there. A vocal minority called it a creepypasta, a fake horror story crafted to go viral. But one detail hooked them all: Caleb's notebook named a place, the Old Miller Cabin, a forgotten ruin deep in the forest. Redditors from Oregon chimed in. The cabin was real, a decaying lodge abandoned since a fire gutted it in 1983. Locals avoided it, swapping stories of strange noises, shadows moving in the windows. It was the kind of place you didn't visit alone. And that's when the mystery took its first sharp turn. A week after the post, a user named Oregon Hiker claimed they hiked to the Miller cabin, a grueling trek through unmarked trails. They expected answers, maybe a trace of Caleb. Instead, they found a husk of a building, its roof caved in, walls blackened by decades-old flames. No signs of life, no footprints, just the forest reclaiming what was left. But near the cabin, carved into a pine tree, was something that made their blood run cold, the initial CM and the date 11/12/19, the night the train stopped. The carving was fresh, the sap still sticky. Oregon Hiker posted a photo, and the thread erupted. Was CM Caleb? Was he still out there, leaving a mark to be found, or was this a sign of something worse, something Reddit wasn't ready to face? The questions piled up, but no one expected what came next. On November 20th, a new account, LEM_92, dropped a comment that stopped the thread in its tracks. "I'm Caleb's sister. Stop digging into this. You're putting people in danger." The words were like a grenade. Redditors flooded her with replies. "Who's in danger? Is Caleb alive? What do you know?" Ellie posted once more, her tone sharp, almost panicked. "He's not missing. He's hiding. Leave it alone." Then, nothing. Her account went dark, like she'd vanished as quickly as Caleb. The moderators locked the thread, citing personal safety concerns, but that only poured fuel on Reddit's obsession. They weren't stopping now. Users turned detective, scouring Ellie's digital footprint. They found her social media, frozen since 2018. Her last post was a photo of her with a man, tall, sandy hair, early 30s, a faint smile. The caption read, "Family sticks together." Redditors poured over the image, convinced the man was Caleb. The word family hit hard, because Caleb's notebook wasn't just about survival. It was about protecting someone he loved, someone he'd risk everything for. The pages painted a picture of two siblings forged in loss. Caleb and Ellie grew up in Bend, Oregon, a quiet town nestled against the forest. Their parents died in a car crash when Caleb was 18, Ellie just 10. He became her world, working grueling shifts at a sawmill, teaching her to fish in the Deschutes River, building campfires under the stars to chase away their grief. But the notebook revealed a shadow over their bond, mistakes Caleb couldn't undo, debts that followed him, and people who wouldn't let him go. One entry was a gut punch. "Ellie doesn't know what I did. If they find her, it's over." Theories flooded Reddit. Some users bet Caleb owed money to a Portland drug ring, his hunters enforcers sent to collect. Others tied the hunters to a cult, pointing to Deschutes Forest's history with fringe groups in the 1970s, drifters who left strange symbols in the trees. A few went darker, suggesting Caleb was neck-deep in crime, poaching, theft, or something bloodier. But a user named DeepDive22 changed the game with a single post. They dug up court records from 2015, showing Caleb was questioned in a missing person case. The missing man was Victor Reed, a local last seen near the Miller cabin. Overnight, Caleb went from victim to potential suspect, and Reddit had a new name to chase. Victor Reed was no stranger in Bend. A 40-year-old mechanic with a quick temper, he was a regular at the town's dive bars, always ready to throw a punch or buy a round. He vanished in August 2015, after a fishing trip in Deschutes Forest. His truck was found abandoned near the Miller cabin, keys still in the ignition, a half-empty bottle of whiskey on the seat. Witnesses remembered Victor arguing with Caleb at a bar days before, loud enough to turn heads. It was about money. Victor had lent Caleb $5,000, and Caleb was dodging him. The notebook's line, Victor found out, took on a sinister edge. Found out what a debt, a lie, or something that cost Victor his life. Reddit became a hive mind, 15,000 comments deep, users piecing together Victor's story. They reached out to his brother, Mark Reed, who posted on the thread, "Caleb knew Victor." They argued, and then Victor was gone. "I don't trust him." Mark's words lit a spark. Redditors speculated Caleb was hiding from Victor's family, maybe running from revenge. But Trainstopper_19 upped the stakes, sharing a notebook page they kept hidden. It read, "Victor found out. He was going to tell Ellie. I had no choice." Those last 3 words, "I had no choice," hung heavy. Did Caleb silence Victor to protect his secret, and what was so dangerous that Ellie couldn't know? The Miller cabin became the mystery's pulse. Built in the 1920s as a hunting lodge, it was a relic of Oregon's wilder days, a place where men gathered to drink and gamble away from prying eyes. A fire in 1983 left it a blackened shell, its walls barely standing, roof open to the sky. Locals called it cursed, trading stories of voices in the wind, lights flickering where no one should be. When Oregon hiker trekked there, they found the CM carving but nothing else. 2 weeks later, a user named Forest Watcher, claiming to be a park ranger, posted a claim that froze the thread. The cabin wasn't empty. They found a sleeping bag, scattered food cans, and a knife with dried blood, its handle carved with CM. They shared grainy photos, the knife glinting in the flash. Caleb had been there, or someone wanted Reddit to think so. The thread surged to 18,000 comments, users dissecting every pixel of Forest Watcher's photos. They cross-referenced the notebook with Victor's case, building a timeline that felt like a news tightening. Victor's argument with Caleb wasn't just about money. Bar patrons said Victor was shouting about exposing Caleb, threatening to tell everyone. The notebook suggested Victor knew something big, something tied to Caleb's mistakes. Some Redditors theorized Victor uncovered a crime. Maybe Caleb was stealing from his boss, maybe worse. Others thought Caleb was shielding Ellie, and Victor's threat to tell her pushed him to a breaking point. But a new clue muddied the waters. Archive Digger, a Redditor with a knack for public records, found a police report from 2016, a year after Victor vanished. It wasn't about Victor, it was about Caleb. He'd been arrested for trespassing near the Miller cabin, caught at midnight with a flashlight and a shovel, claiming he was looking for someone. The report noted a woman, unnamed, who bailed him out the next day. Reddit assumed it was Ellie, but her social media showed she was living in Seattle in 2016, 300 miles away, working as a nurse. Who was the woman? Why was Caleb digging at the cabin, and what was he looking for? The thread hit 20,000 comments, and Redditors weren't just theorizing, they were acting. A group organized a search of Deschutes Forest, ignoring Ellie's plea to stop. They didn't find Caleb, but they stumbled on a rusted locket near the cabin, its clasp broken, engraved with "To E, love always." They posted it on Reddit, hoping Ellie would break her silence. She didn't. Trainstopper_19 shared the notebook's final page, "Ellie's not safe. They know where she is. I have to end this." Those words, "end this," felt like a confession, a plan, or a goodbye. By December 2019, the R Unresolved Mysteries thread was a beast, with a dedicated subreddit, R Oregon Train Mystery, at 30,000 members. Redditors were relentless, contacting anyone tied to the case. Deep Dive 22 reached out to Victor's brother, Mark, who revealed a new piece of the puzzle. Victor wasn't just a mechanic. He was a private investigator, hired to dig into shady dealings in Bend. His last case centered on Richard Holt, a businessman rumored to run an illegal gambling ring out of a warehouse on the town's edge. And Caleb worked for Holt. The notebook's fragments started to fit. Caleb's mistakes weren't random, they were tied to Holt's world, a place of backroom bets, rigged fights, and debts paid in blood. Reddit found a 2014 article about Holt, a slick operator who dodged every charge thrown at him. Witnesses described his fixer, a tall, quiet man who handled problems, someone who sounded a lot like Caleb. Redditors theorized Victor was investigating Holt, got too close, and confronted Caleb, his inside man. When Victor vanished, Caleb became a loose end. The hunters weren't ghosts or cults, they were Holt's enforcers, cleaning house. Ellie's role was harder to pin down. Her Reddit comments, "He's hiding, leave it alone," showed she knew Caleb's past, maybe more than she let on. The locket, to E, suggested a deeper connection, a promise, or a burden. Was she part of Holt's operation? A bystander caught in the crossfire. Truth Seeker 88 found Ellie's LinkedIn, confirming she was a nurse in Seattle, but with a gap in her work history from 2015 to 2016, the year Caleb was arrested. Redditors debated, was she the woman who bailed him out? Was she running? To her plea to stop digging felt less like a warning and more like fear for herself, for Caleb, or for what Reddit might uncover. A leaked email, shared by Archive Digger, threw gasoline on the fire. Dated October 2019, it came from Holt's company, a vague reference to cleaning up loose ends and a name, CM. The email was signed R.H. Richard Holt. Reddit lost it? Was Holt hunting Caleb to silence him? Was Ellie in his crosshairs? The thread became a mission, users begging Ellie to come forward, to explain. She stayed silent, her account deleted, her social media a ghost town. Redditors planned a second search of the Miller cabin, but park rangers shut it down, citing hazardous conditions. Forest Watcher, the ranger, posted a cryptic warning, "Stop coming here. You're stirring things up." That only made Reddit dig harder. Night Owl 99 claimed to have hacked a local police database, pulling a report from November 2019 about a disturbance near the cabin. It described a man, bloodied and limping, running from armed individuals in the forest. The man wasn't identified, but the date lined up with the train incident. Was it Caleb, escaping Holt's hunters, or someone else entirely? January 2020 rolled in, and the mystery started to fray. The Miller cabin was off limits, patrolled by rangers who wouldn't talk. Trainstopper_19 stopped posting, their account dormant. Holt's company scrubbed its online presence, its website replaced by a 404 error. Ellie was gone, her digital life erased. The Oregon train mystery subreddit slowed, its posts dwindling to theories and rehashes. It felt like someone wanted the story buried. But Reddit doesn't let go. Last Chance 77 shared a new lead, a podcast interview with a retired Bend detective, Frank Malone. He called Victor's case mishandled, hinting at pressure from people with money. He didn't name Holt, but Reddit filled in the blanks. Holt's influence ran deep, maybe deep enough to bury a missing person case or a man on the run. The Notebook's final plea, "I have to end this," took on new weight. Was Caleb planning to fight back, to expose Holt, or to disappear for good? In February 2020, a Redditor named Trailblazer posted a photo that reignited the thread. A hiker in Deschutes Forest had found a makeshift gravestones arranged in a rough circle, a cross of branches stabbed into the dirt. Next to it was a scrap of paper, ink smeared by rain. Forgive me, the photo was pulled by mods within hours, but not before thousands screenshot it. Was it Caleb's grave LES or a prank to keep the mystery alive? Reddit couldn't decide, but the image lingered, a question no one could answer. Then came the final twist. In March 2020, a new account, Ghost of CM, posted on our Unresolved Mysteries, "I'm not dead. But I can't come back. Tell Ellie I love her." The post was deleted in minutes, the account banned. Moderators traced the IP to a public library in Boise, Idaho, 200 miles from Deschutes. Reddit split, half called it Caleb, reaching out from hiding, half screamed troll, a cruel jab at a desperate community. But one user, Time Sleuth, noticed something chilling. The post's timestamp matched the exact minute of the train incident, 2:37 a.m., November 12, 1 year later. Coincidence, a glitch, or a message from someone who wanted to be heard? The truth about Caleb, Ellie, and the hunters is still out there, lost in the shadows of Deschutes Forest. Was Caleb a victim, running from a life that broke him, a criminal, dodging the consequences of his choices, or was the notebook a lie, a story spun to haunt the internet? Reddit's still chasing it, posting theories, sifting through clues: the carving, the locket, the grave. They're pieces of a puzzle that might never fit. What do you think happened that night? Who stopped the train, and who is still out there, watching from the trees? That's the end of this mystery on Reddit Vault. If this story gripped you, subscribe, hit the bell, and join our community of truth seekers. Drop your theories in the comments. What's Caleb hiding? Who's hunting him? And what Reddit mystery should we unravel next? Until then, keep listening. The forest never forgets.